A single violation can follow a truck driver for years, even if it seems minor.
It can quietly impact your inspections, your job opportunities, and even your carrier's reputation. You need to understand your CSA score. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly how CSA scoring works, why carriers care about those numbers, and how a single violation can trigger a chain reaction of inspections, enforcement attention, and employment consequences that follows you for years. Hey, Mark Bigger here. I'm an attorney who grew up in a family of professional drivers, racked up plenty of miles, and got my fair share of tickets, so I started fighting them. It turned out I wasn't too bad at it. Now that's all our firm does in court. If you have a ticket and you want to speak with an attorney who you can trust, give us a call at 661-859-1177. Let's start by understanding what CSA actually is and how violations become part of your permanent safety profile. What is CSA and how do violations feed into your score? CSA stands for Compliance, Safety, Accountability. It's the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration system for tracking the safety performance of commercial drivers and motor carriers. Think of it as a long-term safety record built from roadside inspections, documented violations, and reportable crashes involving injury, fatality, or vehicle tow. The system organizes violations into 7 categories called basics, or behavior, analysis, and safety improvement categories. These include unsafe driving, hours of service compliance, driver fitness, controlled substances and alcohol, vehicle maintenance, hazardous materials compliance, and crash indicator. Violations enter the system primarily through roadside inspections and confirm violations reported through state and federal databases. Each violation is assigned a severity weight based on how risky the FMCSA considers the behavior. For example, speeding violations carry different weights depending on how far over the limit the driver was traveling. The system also uses time weighting, which means recent violations count more heavily. Violations within the past 6 months are multiplied by 3, those from 6 to 12 months are multiplied by 2, and violations from 12 to 24 months are counted at their base value. Because of that formula, a recent violation can have a much larger impact on your CSA score than the same violation would have a year or 2 later. Why do carriers monitor CSA scores so closely? Trucking companies pay very close attention to CSA scores because those numbers can trigger FMCSA interventions that affect their operations, insurance costs, and business relationships. The FMCSA uses CSA data to prioritize carriers for warning letters, investigations, and compliance reviews. When scores in certain basic categories exceed intervention thresholds, the company can face increased regulatory scrutiny. Insurance companies also review CSA and other safety data when evaluating risk and setting premiums, which means higher scores can lead to significantly higher insurance costs or difficulty obtaining coverage. CSA performance can also affect a carrier's ability to win and keep freight contracts. Many large shippers and brokers review safety records before deciding which carriers they will work with, and companies with poor safety metrics may lose business as a result. Because of these financial and operational risks, most carriers actively monitor driver safety records. PSP reports are typically reviewed during hiring, and many companies track driver records and new violations through motor vehicle record checks or internal safety monitoring systems so they can address problems before they begin affecting the company's overall safety profile. How do CSA scores affect hiring decisions and career advancement? When you apply for a trucking job, one of the first things is carrier typically reviews is your pre-employment screening program report, often called a PSP. That report contains your roadside inspection history for the past 3 years and your crash history from the past 5 years. It also lists any violations documented during inspections. Carriers use this information to evaluate safety risk, and many have strict internal hiring policies. Some will not hire drivers with recent violations in certain basic categories, while others use internal screening systems that filter applicants based on their inspection and violation history before a recruiter ever reviews the application. Safety records can also affect drivers who are already employed. At many companies, drivers with cleaner records may receive priority for better routes, newer equipment, or higher paying loads, while drivers with recent violations may face more limited opportunities. Some carriers also incorporate safety performance into bonuses or performance reviews. In more serious situations, multiple violations within a short period can make it harder for drivers to move between companies because carriers may view a pattern of violations as a higher safety and regulatory risk. What's the connection between CSA scores, inspections, and increased enforcement? Many drivers don't realize that a history of violations, as tracked through CSA-related systems and inspections, can increase the likelihood of future inspections. FMCSA's Safety Measurement System collects inspection and data that informs risk assessments for both carriers and drivers. When officers access inspection histories at weigh stations or during traffic stops, they can see patterns of violations. Drivers or carriers with histories showing higher risk may be selected for more thorough inspections, known as Level 1 inspections, because these inspections prioritize safety compliance. Breaking the cycle of inspections and violations takes time. Accumulated violations contributed to higher risk scores at the carrier level, which can result in increased enforcement attention across the fleet, even for drivers with clean personal records. Violations typically remain in FMCSA system for about 24 months, while crash data can be reported and considered for up to 5 years. Because of this, a single violation can influence enforcement scrutiny and carrier risk assessments for years after it occurs. What can you do to protect your CSA score and your career? The best way to protect your CSA record is to avoid violations being recorded in the first place. For citations, fighting or disputing them can prevent the CSA score hit from remaining on your record. In California, paying a traffic citation or allowing it to go to conviction can not only result in points going on your MVR, but can also take away your best chance to dispute your CSA on the same violation. Keeping violations off your record helps prevent severity points from being added to your CSA system, which can impact hiring and carrier risk profiles. Drivers should also review their pre-employment screening program, PSP reports, regularly. Errors are possible. Inspections or violations can be misattributed, or crash data may be recorded incorrectly. Inaccurate entries can be challenged through the FMCSA's data queue system, which allows drivers to request, review, and inspect the crash data. Beyond paperwork, maintaining vehicle compliance, proper documentation, and professional conduct during roadside inspections helps reduce the likelihood of violations being recorded. Every inspection is an opportunity to protect your record and minimize CSA-related risk for both yourself and your carrier. Your CSA score isn't just a number in some federal database. It's a score that determines whether you get hired, what routes you're assigned, how much you learn, and whether enforcement officers decide to inspect you more closely. Understanding how violations feed into the system and why carriers monitor it so carefully is essential to protecting your career. If you've received a traffic ticket and want to know how you can fight it, give us a call at 661-859-1177. We offer free consultations to help you understand your options. Don't let a simple ticket turn into a bigger headache. Let us guide you through the process and fight for the best possible outcome. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more practical legal advice. Tap the next video to keep learning and stay ahead of your next ticket.